U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin will host a gathering of top military leaders from about 40 countries at the U.S. airbase in Ramstein, Germany, in the coming hours. They're expected to focus on how to best assist the Ukrainian military and supply weaponry to counter the Russian invasion. This after a day of heavy bombardment in the east and northeast regions of the country.
This man is being evacuated from his home in Kharkiv. Trapped in his flat, it is a miracle he survived.
They've been bombarding us all day and all night. In the beginning, it was quieter at night. The bombing only happened during the day. But later, they began bombing at night too. Bombs hit here in the yard.
Kharkiv has endured a barrage of Russian attacks. Constant shelling has reduced much of the city to ashes. Now, some 50 residents have been evacuated from one frontline neighborhood. They have been taken to shelters where they hope to be safe. About 400 kilometers south, safety is still a distant dream. Russian forces continue to pummel the Azovstal steel factory, the last pocket of resistance in Mariupol. The port city has been under siege for weeks now. Most of it has been wiped out by Russian bombardment. The dire fate of Mariupol has been a warning to other Ukrainian cities. And to protect them, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has asked allies for more support.
Everyone in the world, even those who openly did not support us, now agrees that the fate of Europe, the fate of global security and the fate of the democratic system is being decided in Ukraine.
This is why representatives from across the world will be meeting here at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is set to host talks that will focus on arming Ukraine.
Rebecca Ritters is our correspondent in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, joining us from there. What is the government in Kyiv expecting from that war conference of 40 nations in Ramstein today?
Well, President Zelensky and the Ukrainians have been very clear in their messaging from the very beginning of this conflict. What they want is simply weapons support so they can push back the Russians in their territory. But today's meeting at Ramstein is less about what Ukraine wants and what President Zelensky wants and more about the US looking to its allies in NATO for support. US has been the biggest supporter of Ukraine in this conflict so far. Secretary Antony Blinken and Lloyd Austin were just here at the weekend and they came with more offers of support in the way of weapons and money, and now they're going to their allies to ask for support in that. There has been a lot of criticism from some of the NATO allies, Germany in particular, that they haven't been doing enough, neither before the conflict started or since it began. We have heard word this morning, though, there's a report in the Süddeutsche Zeitung, German newspaper, that the German defense minister, is set to announce the deployment or the go-ahead for some German tanks to be brought to Ukraine, which has been long debated in Germany now. So that will definitely be met positively by the Americans. But today's meeting really just an attempt to get everybody singing from the same songbook.
Now, the UN Secretary General is also engaging in shuttle diplomacy. He's expected in Moscow today for talks with Vladimir Putin. Does the government in Kyiv hold any hope that he can achieve anything?
I don't think so, no, Gerhard. I mean, I think any hope of a peace deal brokered by Antonio Guterres today or this week is really unlikely. I don't think anybody's holding hope out for that. Something that may be even more realistic goal, if you will, that is being talked about here is, of course, a much-needed humanitarian corridor out of that besieged city of Mariupol, where there are still some 2,000 Ukrainian soldiers and some civilians soldiers believed to be trapped underneath that Azov steel plant. And President Zelensky has long been calling for their evacuation. He's also said that if Russia doesn't allow them to be evacuated, and if they go ahead and bombard that to the point where those soldiers are killed, that will basically mean the end of peace negotiations. So really unlikely that anything in terms of the peace deal will come out of these talks by the UN Secretary General this week. I think Kiev not holding out too much hope for that, Gerhard.
Rebecca Rett is there reporting from Kyiv. Thank you, Rebecca.